like a large caramel macchiato with an extra shot and whipped cream, please.
Coming up.
Wait, hold on. How much is that?
$4.85.
Okay, better drop the extra shot. What does that make it?
$4.20.
Better make it a small. What does that make it?
$3.30.
Better drop the whipped cream. What does that make it?
Less calories.
Oh my God, and he flew all the way to New York to tell me that. That's so romantic.
It's beautiful, really.
You're not even allowed to leave the state.
What's that now?
Time for Full Court Press with Connor. He has hot takes from In the Paint, tough picks from the top of the key, and the best scoops on the NBA from downtown.
We've got him, Connor's Full Court Press. Connor, quick question before we get into basketball. Because I've met your wife. Will you guys be doing some weird Kentucky Derby thing on, is it Saturday? Will you be doing a Kentucky Derby deal?
Al, I had no idea where you were going with that, and I would not have guessed. Are you going to do a Kentucky Derby deal? Not that I'm aware of. I think I'm golfing on Saturday.
All right. Here's the thing. I don't pay a lot of attention to any of the horse races. Not against it. You like it, got it. But this morning it was like all of a sudden on the news, I needed to know everything about the Kentucky Derby because the world would be watching. I found out exactly how long the mint julep has been the official liquor of the Kentucky Derby. I saw the lady that made the hat for the gal on the news channel that was at the Kentucky Derby and why they wear the hats. I literally, on my fine paper today here in the state, found out my Minnesota connection to one of the horses in the Derby. And I'm just wondering, maybe I'm the only guy who, I said,
Sounds like you're invested.
Well, I am now because I feel I've missed something. So what'll happen is I'll be in the garage watching a fabulous basketball game, and then you'll see that countdown, Derby in 5 minutes, and then I'll be on, I better tune in, and I'll tune in for the 3.5 minutes of a race, not knowing any of the horses, and at least I can say I did it. They force you to want to watch, don't they? You'll watch. You know you will. I bet you're lying.
I think the hats are to block the sun.
Well, I get it, but they don't have like goofball hats. I mean, for a guy who wears a hat, I understand. Yeah, there's a lot of, okay. Anyway, so you don't care. I won't go any further. No. There have been, I am going to be honest with you. As much as I love my Wolves, I'll watch my Wolves games. I'll even watch a Warriors game once in a while. This tournament has turned into something a whole lot of fun. Can we talk Nuggets and Clippers? Nuggets and the Clippers. I mean, I said this was going to be a great matchup. This has been the best series of any of them. There's some good ones here. Clippers win last night, and now you go Game 7 in Nugville. I made that up, Nugville. You see what I did? Nuggetsville. Going to be a great game. I picked the Clippers to win this whole thing. I thought they'd do it in 6. Oh, I know. It was my upset pick. I don't know that I don't want to change my mind because a Game 7 at home, I got to think that favors the Nuggets, right?
Yeah, I think the tie goes to the best player on the court, and that's Nikola Jokic still. Yeah. But the Clippers have absolutely put on a show here in this series. They're both 50 and 32 teams in the regular season. Yeah. They were right there with each other. Obviously, Denver got the nod with the tiebreaker, but it's going to be an absolute battle.
All right, fair enough. That'll be fun. Now, you and I haven't talked about the Lakers Timberwolves and that finish 4-1. I picked Lakers in 6. I was blown out. I knew that the Timberwolves had a better bench. I didn't know the Lakers had no bench.
Yeah. No bench and no size either. They basically didn't play their one center, and we absolutely chewed them up inside. Rudy Gobert, 27 and 24 in the last game, which I know you love. Julius Randle had a great series, and Naz Reid continued to have a great series again against a basically non-existent second group. So the Lakers showed that they are paying a lot of money for maybe not a lot of production.
Couple of things here. So Rudy has a good game. The other 4 games he was not existent. Ant has a very good game, 43 and whatever. I mean, he can play when he plays. Julius Randle is the reason we won that series. He was there, and now, when's the last time was ever said about Julius Randle in any playoff situation? The guy folds. He didn't fold. I'm sorry. I think Julius Randle's is our guy, and I'm a big Nas guy too. But tell me I'm wrong.
Just like that trade for with Cat for those guys, all of a sudden seems to be working out for us. Somehow the chemistry apparently isn't a huge problem that we've been worrying about all year. So I think Julius Randle's a great addition. He was able to play against LeBron quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I think he's a great second option, I suppose, behind, Edwards, and McDaniels had a couple of good moments too. Yeah, the team looks really, really good.
All right, let me throw one more thing out. 2 games ago, I think you probably noticed, their coach, the Lakers coach, did not sit the 5 guys that got in at the half, did not sit them for the rest of the game. It's been 40 or 50 years since anybody's pulled anything like that. I presume there's a reason behind it. I'm not a great basketball mind, but get this. Redick comes out, the coach, and he says, as he's discussing the early loss, Lakers got to get into championship shape. You can take, let's wind this back to the Kentucky Derby. You can take these thoroughbred horses, and if you just keep running around the track, round and round, and never stop, guess what? Even a thoroughbred horse will start slowing down. Is that crazy? He's blaming them for not being in shape.
He was clearly very offended and touchy when a reporter insinuated that he forgot that he was supposed to be subbing players out. I think he forgot. I think he genuinely got caught up in the moment and didn't think about it. And I mean, it's easy to kind of go, oh, whatever, when your best players are on the floor and frankly you don't have much else to turn to. But yeah, I mean, it's insane, and it isn't something that people do. Even the best players get a minute or two in certain quarters, and the Warriors have stuck to the same rotation with Steph Curry for 9 years. So yeah, that's a miss by a pretty new head coach, I think.
Let me ask you this though. So he's got to fire some assistant coaches, right? I would presume with the 16 coaches and however many athletic directors and everybody else sitting behind on the bench, someone's job is to keep track of that, right? Running minutes. Somebody's got to tap and says, Coach, FYI, you're 12 minutes in or 10 minutes into a 12-minute half. You haven't subbed anybody. Somebody's job must be that, right? Well, they got a guy just for reviews.
The reporter that he snapped at basically was like, hey, do you think you need to, lean into or rely more on your assistant coaches in the future? And he said, what do you mean? I always talk to my assistant coaches every single game. I would do that. And they're like, well, it's just, a lot of coaches in the playoffs, they let others take care of the rotations. And obviously you didn't sub anyone. And he got mad and he got up and left. I think he probably did a lot of the shushing and just kind of got caught up in the moment, I guess. But it's funny that they traded a player who was traded from Dallas, their franchise player, because he wasn't in good shape, and then they loses you a playoff series, and you go, well, we just need
not in shape.
Yikes! That's LA's not going to put up with that further.
Well, and I look at all these basketball players, other than Jokic, they're all absolutely no body fat. They're lean, mean fighting machines, except for the Jokic. And don't tell me, if Minnesota did the same thing, you ran these guys for 24 straight minutes, they'd be gassed. There'd be nothing left. All right.
Remember last year when Ant was completely gassed at the end of games. I mean, he was puffing and puffing, and you could tell he was tired. I mean, it's a long time.
Do this for me. Warriors and the Rockets, they play tonight. It is on the Warriors' home court. I don't think they want to go back to Houston tied up 3 apiece. Do the Warriors pull it out and win this game?
I think so, yeah. And I think it's in somewhat strong fashion. I think it might even be double digits.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, we'll talk about that. And Buckets is back in the rest. We'll talk a little bit more in depth with that. Also, the other side of the bracket, we'll do that after this. It's Connor's Full Court Press on the Al Travis Show.
There are many ways to explore Alexandria. Some like to experience the outdoors and all the fun winter in Minnesota can provide. Pick your favorite way to get in touch with nature. Others like to explore downtown in the warm comfort of a boutique or gathered around a table with friends. You can do all of that or relax and do nothing at all. Come explore Alexandria. Start planning at explorealex.com.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc., Midwest Money Management, and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
as in alligator. L also in alligator. But it's not alligator. It's the Al Travis Show.
And we've got him, Connor's Full Court Press. Okay, Con, so we're looking here. You think the Warriors are going to win this thing tonight. If that tumbles that way, as I understand it, so they would win on Friday, the Timberwolves and the Warriors will start that series on Monday. Now, it'll probably start about 11:30 evening Laker time. It'll be late as all get out. I hate that, but
You certainly won't watch it.
I will not. But I need your thoughts then. If you think it's Warriors, Timberwolves, because we won't get you back until they've played a couple of games, who are you leaning towards? A 6-7 team. 6 for Warriors, Wolves, 7 for Warriors.
Yeah, that's difficult, honestly. I think it's actually a somewhat similar situation where Golden State's going to try and be small, fast, shoot a lot, and Minnesota is much larger, and it's going to be a battle. I think it could be a 7-game series.
And
Jury's still out. I don't know yet.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fair enough. We'll see how it goes. And the other one that, of course, I'm calling the Clippers. I think you're calling the Nuggets, but they're going up against the Thunder. I'm sorry. I don't think either one of them beat the Thunder. So, I mean, I'm going to Thunder.
I think that's either way. I think that's a 5 or 6 game series, and the Thunder moves on for sure.
All right. Fair enough. On the other side of the bracket, which you haven't talked about much, that for the most part, this has been a great series, even on the other side, the Eastern Conference. Cavaliers Heat never should have happened. 50-point blowouts. I'm sorry, he shouldn't.
Worst, most lopsided series in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, and you could see it coming. They shouldn't have played it. But again, the Pacers, very good team against the Cavaliers. They're both deep in the bench, both long, both lanky, both fast, both young, both with no experience. I got to go with Cavaliers, but only because they're their first one. The Pacers could pull this off.
Cavs in 5.
Get out. There's a hot take. Okay, fair enough.
Cavs in 5, yep.
All right. Now we got to go to the other side. The Magic and Celtics, Magic win one of that because guess what? Everybody will win sometime, but it was the Celtics to lose. Celtics move on. Last night, and I love this whole Pistons-Knicks series. This was all the games were close. Last night, tuned in, Pistons were up by 12 with about 4 minutes to play. And then Brunson said, get out of the way, people. I'll just take this thing over. It was the most fantastic 4 minutes of basketball by one human being, shooting everything, making everything. Right down, Connor. Did you see the last shot? You had to have seen the last shot. Mm-hmm. This guy put a move on so bad, the guy was out of the frame when he dribbled back, got to the 3-point line, ordered a beer, got the beer, drank the beer, then shot the ball. And made it in. There was no one around him. You look at the photo. There's no way with a tied game anyone should be that open. And he made it then too. I mean, which is amazing. Your thoughts just on Brunson himself? I
think he's unbelievable. He's clearly the best player on that team. I'm a little bit nervous for the Knicks considering the rest of their team didn't do a lot. They had some contributions, from Bridges and Anunoby. Over 20 points, but the bench was abysmal, and Cat, kind of just disappeared.
Which he does.
It's a little nerve wracking. If I'm the Knicks, I will say I think the Celtics Cavaliers Eastern Conference Finals is going to be unbelievable. But right now, I think that the Knicks could go to 5 or 6 or 7 games with the Celtics, just depending on which Celtics shows up.
That it absolutely was. Unbelievable to watch. And you're calling the Celtics, you're saying in 5 or 6?
Yeah, I think 6 games for the Celtics.
Well, and what did you say for the Cavs and the Pacers? Is that going to make it a long one as well?
5 games for the Pacers and Cavaliers.
Well, and again, then the Wolves go late. This is stacking up better for the East, isn't it then? If this is going that way, they're going to get an extra week's to sit around and wait.
Yeah, I think all these others go there. It's going to be a bit of a bloodbath. I think it, the regular season kind of showed that the teams were closer together. Cleveland and Boston. I do think that Boston has a tougher path, frankly, but I think they meet in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think that one might go to 7 as well.
The Celtics and the Cavs would go 7 games?
Yeah, I think
so. That matches was so much weird. Celtics got a couple great players, but it's the Cavaliers' depth, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. They got some good players too, but Cleveland's just an unbelievably well-rounded team. Obviously, Boston's got championship DNA and all those kinds of things, but Boston hasn't looked as good as Cleveland. It's not even close, really. So it's going to be a battle. It's kind of that experience versus the, I guess, I don't know, chemistry that Cleveland's got right now.
Well, and things can change, obviously, in the next month as we continue this on. But as it sits then, I believe you believe the Thunder and the Cavs, the 2 number 1 seeds in the finals? Is that what you're calling as we sit here today?
I'm hoping that's not the case. I think that's probably the most likely at this point, just because they were so dominant all year long.
Well, why would you hate that? Aren't they kind of similar teams? Wouldn't that make for a fantastic finals?
I think it would be, a good finals, good competition. I don't know that it sells tickets necessarily for the league.
Oh, the heck with the NBA not making their money. It'd be good basketball. It would be. I mean, they're both young. Both have more. It's more
great
of a team game than not. Both great defenses. I'm just telling you, if you want great basketball, that might be the one.
Yeah, and I think that there's a good chance we see that come to pass.
So what happens with Minnesota? I'm just fill this up with Minnesota and the Warriors in that matchup. And what I mean by that is DiVincenzo. Does he get more playing time because of the trade? Does he get more of that? You know what I'm saying? He needs to play for the Warriors. Do you do things like that as a coach? You know him, go get him?
If his rotational change because of that necessarily, I do think Minnesota is going to have to play deep with Golden State. I think Golden State's going to have to try and play deep with Minnesota, and they haven't already. In the first round, they haven't played all that deep, whereas Minnesota really has. So
how disappointing is Kuminga so far in his career?
Yeah, I mean, he was looking like he was on the right trajectory last year. Completely fell flat and has been flat all year, and he played a little bit here this playoff series, but not good at all. So it'll be interesting. I mean, the Warriors starting 5 has played solid together. Obviously they've turned their game around since adding Jimmy. Jimmy was a Timberwolf not long ago.
So that's what I'm saying. And Jimmy's got something to prove because we sent his butt home because we didn't like his attitude, and then he comes to the Warriors. He goes, "Here's my attitude." I think that will be an absolutely wonderful series. The problem is it's a 6 and 7 going up against a 1 when you get to the
I don't
next
know.
level.
I don't know. What Golden State does with defensively and even offensively. Jaden McDaniels or Ant could guard Steph, and he's going to be Steph still, but he's going to have a harder time. And I don't know who guards Anthony Edwards. It's probably Jimmy Butler. And that's also a tough matchup.
That'll be tough. All right, Connor, appreciate you being here. We'll do it again next week. Fair enough.
All right, Al. We'll see you next time.
Connor's Full Court Press on the Al Travis Show.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's